Hey, Sagelings. Well, I wanted to continue talking about incorporating role playing into our pagan and witchcraft lives. Now, I feel that I have an unfair advantage over so many people that are practicing witchcraft. I played role playing games, and so I understand the progression of skills. Now, if you played other video games, then yes, you can say that you have this. But you got to have an understanding that just because you can do something minor, it doesn't mean that you can do something major. Now, on this image here, I have the Weather Mastery spell list for Druids from the Rolemaster game system. And you see those numbers there? Those are the levels of the spells. The higher the number, the higher the storm. The higher the requirement, the energy, and all that, the more difficult of a spell it is. So a level 2 call mist spell is very, very weak. So you can call a light fog over an area. Well, just because you just learned to do that does not mean that you can do something a lot more difficult right away. Okay, you can learn to predict weather. Great, and with a little practice, you can do overcast, which is to basically get clouds all through the sky, block out the sun a little bit. But if you just learned how to call mist, you cannot tomorrow be able to call storms or call lightning 3 or dismiss storms, which is down there as well, level 30 spell. Okay, we have a problem in witchcraft because it is so vague, so full of gray areas, and we don't have a lot of teachers. We have a lot of people that do not understand that it takes time to develop your abilities. You could have success doing something simple, and so you have an ability, but an ability does not mean that you have the capacity to do something more complex, more demanding. An example that I want to give is reading. Okay, somebody just learned to read Dr. Seuss. Somebody just got done learning how to read Fun with Dick and Jane. Just because you can do that does not mean that tomorrow you can read Tolstoy's War and Peace. That is a very difficult book. It is very long. It requires a lot of patience, and it is on a completely different level compared to Dr. Seuss. And then let's talk about giving speeches. I have improved a great deal in giving speeches. But I'm going to use myself and compare myself to the orc, Emily. Now, we have all watched Emily give speeches when she talks, when she reads out loud, and she has a hard time expressing herself through words. Well, she would be like a level 1. Now, I trip on my tongue frequently, but I believe that I do a decent job giving speeches. So I could be, let's say a level 6. Then you take somebody that has been given speeches professionally for a few years and has a wonderful grasp of the vocabulary, mannerisms. They know how to use their body language and such. They could be like a level 20. Okay, so there are things that that person can do daily on a moment's notice that Emily could never do, and that I could do if I have time to prepare myself. So this is the progression of skills. We do not have that in witchcraft. And it will be impossible to assign spells a level. However, we should be able to perceive an idea of how difficult, what we're asking for out of magic. You know, we're talking about taking energy, focusing it, shaping it, to putting in our intent, our desires, and getting a change. Well, what are we asking for? Are we asking for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl? Okay, that's kind of complex, and a lot of things have to be done. So that would require a lot of energy. Are we asking for Jeff Gordon to crash on the next NASCAR turn? That could be a lot easier, so that'd be kind of lower level. Asking for Hurricane Michael to disappear, that would take a massive amount of energy. And so a single person that is low level could never do something like that. And so this is the progression of skills that I'm talking about. We have to have our solitaries and our covens teach people that, you know, spells are wonderful, but they have limitations. And the limitations of the spells are also based off of our limitations of as people, as our abilities. Another way to perceive this is like a fire. Okay. Now each spell here is like a unit of flame. Predict precipitation is the easiest spell there. And that would be like lighting a wooden match. Okay. Not a lot of fire. You know, it doesn't take much. Okay. Let's go to the level 10, call lightning. That's a lot of energy. That would be like a propane torch. Okay. You know, that is a bright, intense fire, puts out a lot of heat. You know, that would represent a great deal of power. Then let's go for the level 30 spell, Dismiss Storms. That's a bonfire. That's somebody who made a 6-foot stack of wood, threw some gasoline on it, and torched it. It takes that much energy. There is no way that the little level 1 spell can, well, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. There's no way that a Dismiss Storms spell would work if all you can muster is a big lighter of flame. Okay, it just won't work. It'll be a failure. But if you have something equivalent to a propane torch, you know, like I said, for level 10, you can do all of the spells up to level 10, no problem. But taking that and trying to do something that requires a lot of energy is going to take a lot of work. And the more difficult it is, the higher the odds are that you're going to fail. So, Sagelings, I am just trying to explain to everybody here that we can't just blindly assume that because we can cast a spell that we can cast any spell. Just because we can do one thing does not mean that we can do grand versions of that one thing. So that is what I would like you to think about. Please leave your comments below. Everybody, take care. Be at peace.